We have Alan Dershowitz, the Harvard Law professor and author of the Case Against Impeaching Trump, joining us on the Curvy Couch. Good morning to you and happy Thanksgiving.
Good morning. Happy Thanksgiving.
Thank you. Well, first, we want to talk about Rudy Giuliani, and he has made some comments because they have answered all the questions in the Mueller investigation. They turned those over, and Rudy Giuliani just had an interview with Axios, and this is what he said. He said, I don't think they have any evidence of collusion of any kind. I think their obstruction case, as a legal matter, doesn't exist.
I think he's 100% right. I think the obstruction case fails on constitutional grounds. A president can't obstruct justice by exercising his constitutional authority to fire, to pardon, anything of that kind. The collusion case, first of all, collusion is not a crime. Second of all, I've seen no evidence that involves the president in collusion. I think it was a very smart decision to answer the questions in writing. Clearly, Mueller had tried to spring a perjury trap. You know, it's interesting. Comey, in his book, said, when you call a defendant in to testify, you already know what he's going to say. You only want to give him a chance to either tell the truth or a lie. That's a perjury trap. But when you answer the questions in writing, and although the president said it was his answers, obviously the lawyers vetted them, that's designed to avoid a perjury trap. So I think this has been a win-win for President Trump when it comes to any kind of legal or impeachment vulnerability.
Okay, but with that in mind, you've drafted thousands of answers to interrogatories. This is something along those lines. How ironclad can those answers be to 100%, in your opinion, avoid a Mueller trap, be it perjury or some other trap?
Well, you don't want them to be 100% ironclad when, if, for example, if they ask the president, did you know about the meeting in the Trump Tower? He may not have any recollection. He was so busy running for president. You want an honest answer, and the honest answer sometimes is, I have no specific recollection of being told about this. It's always possible. You want to do everything in your power to avoid. Remember, a perjury trap is a trap for the innocent as well as the guilty. You can testify completely honestly. All the prosecution needs is one witness to contradict you. Sure. If that witness is believed by the prosecutor, you have fallen into the trap.
Well, you know, we've heard from the president's legal team over the last year arguing he wouldn't answer any questions regarding the obstruction of justice.
He shouldn't.
With the firing of James Comey. So is this essentially a win for the president's team because it's all about Russia, not about obstruction of justice?
Look, I don't want to take any credit for this, but from day one, I have been saying on this show the president should not answer questions about how or why he exercised his constitutional authority. That is covered by executive privilege. You don't want to start allowing prosecutors to psychoanalyze presidential motives if the president acted according to Article 2 of the Constitution. So he was absolutely right.
How many questions were there? Do you know that? And do you know
about
his legal team? Did he hire a bunch of lawyers?
Oh, no, I know his legal team. It's a terrific legal team. I mean, Jay Sekulow is a terrific lawyer. Rudy Giuliani is one of the legendary lawyers of the 20th and 21st centuries. I've gone up against Rudy Giuliani since 1973. You know, we've been on the same side. We've been on the opposite side. I have enormous respect for him.
Right. Let me ask you about a New York Times story that apparently the President of the United States wanted the Department of Justice to go after James Comey and Hillary Clinton.
It's a terrible mistake. You don't want to weaponize the political differences. You don't want either side.
Isn't that an impeachable offense?
No. It's not an impeachable offense, but it's a wrong thing to do. Neither side should be weaponizing. Even the thing on Ivanka Trump's emails, it's just each side trying to weaponize anything they can find and criminalize. You don't like what something did in America today politically? Oh, let's prosecute. Let's go after them. Lock her up, impeach. That's not the way to go. If you don't like what people have done, run against them. Use political weapons. Do not use the criminal justice system.
So it was Don McGahn apparently talked the president out of pursuing
That's why you need a lawyer.
And in fact, according to the reporting, Mr. McGahn said if you do that, that's an impeachable offense.
I don't believe that. I don't think it's an impeachable offense. I just think it would be wrong to do. Look, the president has so many legal issues he's confronting. On this issue now of the Ninth Circuit, where he is appealing, that's one of the hardest cases there is today. Why? It's not like the travel ban. The travel ban, the president was explicitly authorized by statute to decide which countries to prohibit immigration from. On asylum, The president doesn't have that authority statutorily, but he has the broad constitutional authority to control our borders. So this is going to be a classic case, not as easy as the travel ban, which he won, and I predicted he would win. This one is a close one. I don't think any lawyers can predict how this one's going to come out.
Travel ban went to the Supreme Court. This one
will go to the Supreme Court, probably.
Because Ninth Circuit has said no. They've said they're blocking the president's asylum restrictions. He's upset. Yesterday, he was talking about it.
He's right to appeal it because it's a close case. He will lose on the statute, but he may win on the constitutional issue, so it's a very complicated and difficult case.
This is what the president said yesterday about it, and we'll get your reaction.
You go to the Ninth Circuit, and it's a disgrace, and I'm going to put in a major complaint because you cannot win, if you're us, a case in the Ninth Circuit. And I think it's a disgrace when people file, every case gets filed in the Ninth Circuit because they know that's not law, that's not what this country stands for. Every case that gets filed in the Ninth Circuit, we get beaten, and then we end up having to go to the Supreme Court, like the travel ban, and we won. The Ninth Circuit, we're going to have to look at that.
So what's the timing to get this to a higher court for review?
Well, you can get it very quickly to a higher court. You can seek an immediate stay. The president is not correct when he talks about the Ninth Circuit. The Ninth Circuit has something like 26 or more judges. A lot of them are liberal Democrats. A lot of them are Trump appointees. Some of them appointees of Reagan or Bush. It's a very diverse circuit. But he's done better in the Supreme Court than he's done in the Ninth Circuit. But I think the judge, wrote a balanced, thoughtful decision, a decision that may well be overruled in the Supreme Court, because you have a clash between the statute and the constitutional authority of the president. And how a court will decide that is unpredictable. But the president is right to appeal it. That's the obligation of a good lawyer. If it's all below, you appeal it to the next court.
Yeah. Alan, a couple of minutes ago, you mentioned the Ivanka emails. Some Democrats and some Republicans are saying we should probably look into this. The president, when he was going to the chopper to head to Florida, he said, look, there's a big difference between Ivanka's email and Hillary Clinton's. She didn't have a private server. She didn't delete anything. There were no national security issues.
I think that's right. Look, I think they're trying to make a mountain out of a molehill, or a molehill out of a piece of sand, a grain of sand. There's nothing here. And again, the instinct to immediately, when you see something you don't like by somebody who's on the other side, investigate. Criminal.
But
that's not the way you do it. It's terrible. It's awful. Both sides have to disarm, stop using the criminal justice system, and start just getting back to good old politics. You don't like what they say? Argue with them, but don't threaten them with prosecution.